Hi guys, so this session is about content creation in WordPress using Gutenberg, and this is totally for the folks who are new to Gutenberg or WordPress. And since it's not a developer session, so you wouldn't see any coding today. About me, my name is Sayed Taqui, and I am a senior WordPress engineer in a WordPress agency called RTCam, which is located in Pune. And I'm super excited to show you guys how to create beautiful content in WordPress using Gutenberg. But before we dive into it, just in case someone hasn't heard about Gutenberg, though I know most of you already know because that's why you're here. But just in case someone doesn't know, it's actually a new default editor of WordPress where you write your post or create your page content. It's also known as block editor, so you would hear both the terms interchangeably. It was launched in December 2018 with WordPress version 5, so it's relatively new but still 2 years old. Uh, WordPress community has put a lot of effort and time to create this new block editor. If you go to their, you know, uh, GitHub repository online, you would see thousands of commits and hundreds of developers who have contributed to this new editor. And this is constantly evolving, and they are improving and fixing, issues of Gutenberg with every release of WordPress. But prior to this new editor, uh, we had an old editor which was called TinyMC editor. Uh, it was not, as great as this one. It was very limited to what it could do in terms of its features. Uh, but what you can do today with Gutenberg is far more than what you could do before. Uh, but you still have the option to switch between the old and the new editor. So you would see some people is still using the old editor in their WordPress installation, probably because they have been using the old editor for a long time, so they are not very comfortable switching to the new one. So what you would see both of the editors. So I would quickly show you a demo of how the old editor looked, so that if you see it somewhere, you would recognize what it was, and you would also appreciate the new features, which have been added to the new block editor, which is called Gutenberg. So this is how the old editor looked like. This is where you added the text, and it had some basic options of changing the font sizes of the heading, and it had some basic formatting options like making it italic or adding a strike through. And it had the option of adding media to it, and you could just align them left or right or in the center. So that was pretty much it. So now let's take a look at the new editor, which is Gutenberg. So I'll show you the interface of the new editor and walk you through and how things work in it, how blocks are added, and what are some common blocks. And once you get the basic idea and you are familiar with the interface, we will go ahead and create a beautiful content using Gutenberg. So I have a WordPress installation here, and if you want to create any post or page, you would do it from here. So let's create a post and click add new, and when you click on add new, you are presented with the new editor, which is Gutenberg, and it's also called a block editor, like I said, and it's called a block editor for a reason, and that's because everything that you see in this editor is a block. So let's first add the title. So let's name it something nice. WordCamp India 2021. And as you can see that it's a very clean interface. It kind of looks like a document where you can just start typing, but the default block that we see is actually a paragraph block. So let's type in something or just paste some content here. So this is a block. I'll show you more blocks, but let's first focus on the first block, the default block, which is paragraph. So when you hover over it, or when you are focused on this block, you are presented with a toolbar, and you have additional options. Like for example, you want to make some text bold, or you want to make some text italic, or let's say you want to add link to some text. So let's add something, google.com. So this becomes a link. Then if you want to make this text center align or left align, you can do it from there. When you click here, you have additional options like inline code, inline image. And on the right side, you have some more options. Like for example, let's say you want to change the font size of this text. You can click here and choose large. Or if you want custom font size, you can change that from here. Let me show it to you. I hope everyone can see it. If you want to make the first text or first letter bigger, then you can use drop cap. And if you want to change the color, you can change that from here. For example, let's say I want a background color of gray. There is another cool thing of this color setting, is that if you choose a color combination which is not very easy to read, then you'll see a warning that this color combination may be hard for people to read. Try using a brighter background color or darker text color. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to clear that out. Similarly, you have more blocks. If you click here, you will see full list of all the blocks which are available to use. So we have paragraph block, heading block, list, quote. So I'll walk you through some of the blocks which are commonly used. For example, let's take a look at the heading block. So when you choose a different block, you have different settings for those. For example, this is the heading block, so you have the option of changing the heading from H2 to H3 or H4 or H1, whatever makes sense here, or whatever you like. Similar to paragraph, you also have the option of changing the font size of it, or choosing a custom font if you want to. And similarly, we have color settings. There are 2 or 3 ways of adding a block. One is to click here and choose whatever block we want from the full list, or you can click on this plus button, and here you would see some frequently used blocks which you can choose. If you do not want to click those buttons and you just want to use your keyboard, then you can type /, and here you would need to know the name of the block. So once you get used to it, you can just use this /. For example, if I want to heading, I can just go ahead and choose heading. Either you can click on it or you can hit enter, and it will become a heading block. Now let's say that you want the heading to come first and then paragraph to come later. So if you click here, you would see that we have the option of moving this block up. So if you click move up, the heading will go up and the paragraph will come down. So I can do this all day. You also have one icon for dragging, so you can also drag your block and put it wherever you want. So let's keep the heading first, and paragraph later. There are some more helpful features on top. You have a eye icon. If you click on this, it tells you the details of the block. It tells you, I mean, it's actually for the entire document, not for just one block. So here you can see how many characters you have written, the number of words, the number of headings, paragraph, blocks, and you see the document outline. So you see that you have the title, and then you have H2. And if you click here, you see all the blocks that are there on your page. So you would say that there are 2 blocks, but actually there are 3. There is also one paragraph blocks. It gets added by default. So whenever you hit enter, it adds a new paragraph block. So if I keep pressing enter, then you would see new blocks are getting added. And to delete that, you hit the backspace or delete button. Or if you, for example, let's say you want to delete this block, then you can click here and hit remove block from here. Now let's say that I want to save this as draft. I haven't completed this post yet, and I want to do this later. So you can go ahead and hit on save draft, and it will get saved. So you can come back and you can complete this post and then publish it. Or if you want to take a look at it on the front end, you can click on preview and click on preview new tab, and you can see how your content is looking on the front end. You also have the option to take a look at it in tablet and mobile. If you notice, there are 2 tabs. One is post and one is block. So whenever you focus on a block, you see that this content and these options get changed. So whenever you are focused on a block, it shows you which block is selected. However, if you click outside the block in the document, then you see that the post tab gets selected. The options that you see here is actually the options for the entire post and not just for one block. So this will remain the same. So let me show you what options you have for the post. So let's say that you wrote the post, but you do not want to make it public. You want to keep it private, and you only want the admins and editors to view it. So you can change that to private. Let's say that you want this post to go out, but you don't want everybody to see it, and you only want people who have some password to take a look at this post. So you can enter a secure password and share that with them. So whoever who has this password, only those people can see this post. And then you have some more options like stick to the top of the block. If you check this, then in the list of the post, this one will stick to the top. And then it has the option of pending review, meaning you have completed the post, however it's pending review of somebody. Maybe your manager wants to take a look at it first before you publish it. Then you have the option of author. You can even choose different author here, and you can take a look at the revisions of this post. And then you have permalink. So here you can also change the permalink if you want to, but let me first publish this post. So if you hit publish, it says double check your settings before publishing. The visibility is public, and it will publish immediately. And we'll go over tags and categories in a moment. So it's saying that this is live now. So if you click on view post, we see that this post is currently live and the visibility is public. And meaning anybody can see it. Now let's say, let me close this out and open it in a new tab. So let's say I don't like the slug here. I want to change the slug. Then I can change it from here. Let's say I want to change that to 2020 or 2022. I can update it, and now if I click here, you would see that it changed the slug of it. So it's up to me what slug I want to keep. Then you have the option of choosing the category. So if you might have noticed on the front end, when you do not select the category, by default WordPress selects uncategorized. So uncategorized was selected. Let's change that and change that to, let's say, comedy. Update it, take a look at it on front end, and now the category has changed. You can also add more tags here. And if you want, you can also set a featured image. You can also add excerpt to your post, or if you want to allow comments on your post, or if you don't want to. Currently comments are allowed, so anybody can post comment. If you uncheck this option, you wouldn't see that comment here. And this is the tag that we added. And this is the featured image that we added. So whenever you add a featured image, it gets added on top. That totally depends on the theme that you're using. I'm currently using the WordPress default theme, which is 2020. And you have the option of allowing ping back and rollbacks, trackbacks. And you have some more options like post attributes, where you can select template of your post. So if you do not like this template and you want to use a different one, and if your theme supports it, if it has given you more templates, that you can choose them from here. For example, if you want to use full width template or cover template, you can choose them from here, and your front end would look according to that template. Now let's look at some more common blocks. So in text, we looked at paragraph, heading, and now let's see list. And then we have code block. And if you want to add some code, you can do that using code block. So if you notice here on the right side, it's also showing you the preview of how the block would look like in the editor. So for example, if I look at paragraph block, it would show me that it would look like this. The code block would look like this. The heading may look like this. We can also use table or pull quote, or use pre-formatted text. We can also add verses. And now let's take a look at image block. So you can upload an image. You can select an image from the media library, or you can insert an image from a URL. So let's choose an image from the media library. And you also have some more options, like you can make this image rounded if you want to. This is just all text. and you can choose the image size. And if you want, you can also change the width and height of the image. You can also resize it using this, or by using the options here. Either make it 50%, 70%, 75%, or 100%, or reset it. You can also link this image and add caption. Then you can add cover block. This is an interesting block. Let's choose a cover from the media library. And then you can start typing on the cover block, or make it bold or italic or however you want. You can also make it fixed background. So once you make it fixed background, it works. It looks like this. If you're using a smaller image, you can also use repeated background, and also set minimum height of the cover. You also have the option of choosing the overlay. Currently it's 50% opacity, so you can increase that opacity if you want to. So let's keep that 50%. You can also change the color of the overlay, black or whatever you like. You can also choose custom color from here. And let's update that and take a look at it on the front end. So here it is. Looks great. More common blocks: media and text. If you want to add media on the left and text on the right, you can do that. Let's copy this from here. You can show the media on the right or the left. That's up to you. And you can choose wide width, or you can choose full width. There are plenty of options that you can choose from. Vertically aligned top, vertically aligned middle. You can. This is for these are options for the image. Right. So I think left to right was looking fine. Okay. And then if you want to add video, you have the option to add that. But another important block that I wanted you to look was column block. So when you use, let me delete these first. So in column, you can select the how many columns you want. Like, do you want 50-50? Do you want 30-70 or 70-30? So let's say I want 3-column layout. I can choose the 3-column, and then you can add any block that you want to. So let's say I add a heading and say item 1. Right. Let's change that to H4. Let's also choose heading again. Heading. Item 3. let's change that to H4. And then we can start, I mean, we can keep adding more blocks as we want. Let's say I want an image here. So I'll choose an image. Let's choose this one. For the second column, I can choose another image. So this is how we create column. I mean, we have the option to choose anything, any block that we want, and those would be added in the column. So you have uh, the option of creating any kind of design that you want using the existing blocks. So let's update that and take a look at on the front end. So this is our media and the text, and this is our 3-column. Now, one more thing which is very cool in Gutenberg is that, let's say that you really want to use this layout somewhere else. So what you can do is that you select the column or select the block that you have created or the layout that you have created, click here and add it to the reusable blocks. Once you do that, let's say, let's name it my awesome block. Let's name it like that. Now this has become a reusable block. We can use this block anywhere we want to, and you would also see that one more tab has been added and my awesome block has been added here. So I can reuse this block here, and not just on this page. If I go ahead and create another post, my reusable block will be available even here. So if we create a layout that we want to use throughout the website, or we want to reuse them, we can always make them reusable. And if you make changes to this reusable block anywhere, it will get changed everywhere. Another important feature of Gutenberg that I wanted to highlight was patterns. You might have noticed this already. This is something that has been added in Gutenberg recently. So what pattern is that? It's just a group of some blocks you put together to create some design. So let's say this is one design, which is actually a group of blocks. So this pattern has the heading block, it has the paragraph block, and it has the button block. I think it is button. Yes, it is the button block. So you can insert any pattern. For example, let's choose another one. Let's say this is kind of 2-column pattern. You can start editing it. All right, and then go ahead and save that. Did I open 2 of those? Let me close one. So you have the pattern that you have added. So you might ask that what would be the difference between pattern and reusable blocks. Reusable block also does similar thing. So whenever you make any changes to reusable block, the changes are made to all the instances of that block, so throughout the website. So let's say you use that on 3 different pages, or you use that reusable block 3 or 4 times, then that change would reflect everywhere. However, when you use a pattern and you make changes, that change would take effect only in that particular block and not everywhere else. So you can, add or insert one pattern and you can turn it into something else. Another thing is block library. or block directory, I think. If there is any block which is not available in Gutenberg, you can search for those. For example, let's say I want carousel block. This carousel block is not available in Gutenberg. I mean, it's not given by default, but it's still similar to plugins. You can also search for the blocks and you can directly just add them from here. So if I click on add, now we have that carousel block available. However it works, that's not my concern right now. But if you go to plugins, it's actually a plugin which has only one block. So this is the block that we just downloaded. So if we want, we can also deactivate it and also remove that. So now that we have a good idea of how to add blocks and how many blocks we have available, and we are familiar with the interface, let's create a decent page and see how easy it is to create that. So we have all of these blocks available. There are a lot of them. If you need more, you can search for them, and Gutenberg will, if it is available, then Gutenberg would be able to find those for you. So you have all those blocks available. It's just up to your imagination what you can create with those blocks. So you can come up with any design that you like. Let's try to create something. Um, let's name this nature, and let's start with a cover block as a header, and add something from the media library. And let's say that we want this cover block to be full width, so let's make it full width so that it spans across the page. And let's add some title here, and instead of paragraph, let's choose heading, and let's choose H1, and let's type land really is the best art, and let's align it to the center, and let's publish that and see how it's looking on the front end. Okay. We probably want to make the height bigger, so let's first of all let's make it fixed background, and let's give it a minimum height of, let's say, 700 pixel. Let's see how that's looking. Oh, that's looking good, I think. Okay, cool. Now that would be our hero or banner. Now let's add some heading here, and choose, yeah, H2 is fine. Look deep into the nature, and let's text align at center, and let's paste some content here, and let's make a drop cap, and maybe this can also become text align center. Can we now make a drop cap? No, we can't. Oh, so it has to be text align left. Alright, that's fine. Now let's add some gallery and upload some images. create a new gallery and insert that. So let's change the column. So if you use 4 column, it looks like this. I think 4 column is looking fine. And then let's add a button here. Call to action. And while we are on the button block, you also have some more options, like you can change its border radius, you can change the style of the button depending on which theme you're using. You also have the option to change its colors and add link to it. So let's align it center. Call to action, and let's add some pattern here, which kind of looks like footer. Let's add this one. Right. Now let's update this and take a look at it on the front end. So I think this is looking good. This is a decent page that we created using Gutenberg. I'm not liking what's there at the bottom, so let's remove those. So for that, you would need to go to widgets and remove these footer items. And these are site-wide, so if you remove it from widget, it will be removed from everywhere. Now let's refresh that. I think it's looking fine. So this is how you would create a page using Gutenberg. If you do not have a WordPress installation, you can go to wordpress.org/Gutenberg, and here you cannot save anything, you cannot upload images, but still you can use Gutenberg, and you can see how it works. You still have all the blocks which are available, and you also have all of the options from here. So if I want, I can insert any block, like for example I can insert heading, and we have all those options available on the right, and we also have these toolbar. So it is kind of a replica of Gutenberg, which is available on wordpress.org Gutenberg. So I think if you search WordPress Gutenberg demo, maybe, yes, so that would probably be the first thing. Maybe for me, not for you, but I think you'll be able to find it. wordpress.org/Gutenberg. Here you can play around with Gutenberg and see how it works. So these are some of the resources. Developers.wordpress.org/block editor. This is where you can learn more about the block editor. You can read the glossary and how to use the block editor. Gutenberg hub.com is where you can find blocks and some ready-made pattern and some resources for your Gutenberg block. And wordpress.org/Gutenberg is where you can use the block editor without WordPress. So the one that I showed you, where you can just play around with Gutenberg without installing WordPress. So that's all I had. So I hope that you learned something from this session, and thanks for joining.